Alright, so we left the studio cameras running last night and caught something I thought kind of fun running around at midnight-ish. By my math, I have tested over 63 different robots that move and clean certain things. Been doing this for a long time. So when Roborock sent over their Saros 20, and thank you to them for sponsoring this video, I knew I had this many options. I could sit here and just go through spec after specs and tell you like, it sucks in the best way possible, explain what's new, or I could have a bit of fun with it
and give it a torture test
to see how this thing really works. So let's go with the latter and hope Roborock lets me publish this. So I have 6 stress tests lined up that usually spell disaster. So we're just gonna together see if I can break this thing. All right, test 1. We're gonna call this the threshold. Most robot vacuums are totally fine on one surface or in a room, but you try to get from one surface to another or over a door frame, everything just breaks. Most give up completely and then turn around, which kind of defeats the purpose of that like convenience that you're paying for. Saros 20 can actually lift, it does like a push-up, lift itself up and over this stuff. And Roborock claims it can clear up to 1.77 inches. In the past, if I wanted to take a robot vacuum from one room to the other, it was like I had to marry it and pick it up and carry it across the threshold. So I set this up again to actually see how it works, and you can watch what happens here. It rolls up, stops. I like to say it's thinking. Then from the front, it lifts. The climbing arms rotate out and stabilize it. The main wheels push forward, auxiliary wheels catch the landing, and it comes down the other side without like slamming down, without scraping, without damaging floors or itself. I watched it do this, I'm gonna say 6 times, but you could probably multiply that by about 5 over the past few weeks. Almost flawless every time. That alone is probably enough of a reason to get this thing, but let's see if we can break it some more. Test 2, that's carpet. This one should be pretty simple, right? Most robot vacuums, virtually all shapes and sizes and price points, can handle carpet. But a lot of them have the issue where they kind of just roll right over it with the mop pads down and get it wet or leave weird snaily streaks. Saros 20 uses that same climbing system we just saw to raise its chassis on rugs for better contact with the fibers, and it kind of finds the sweet spot. Roborock says it's the strongest carpet performance yet, and on like a medium pile rug, actually, you really can see a difference. You can turn on deep cleaning, and it'll make a second pass with even more suction. But what about those mops? Instead of trying to over-engineer some complicated system, Roborock decided that when it comes to cleaning carpets, the best mop is no mop. So Saros 20 will actually drop its mops off at the dock, which sounds like it's dropping kids off at school, before it goes to clean rugs, and then when it's done, it'll go back, pick them up, and keep mopping. The results, though, are noticeably better, so handle that. Test 3 was clearance, and that is like limbo style, how low can we go? And for as slim as the robot vacuums have become, there's like a lot of tech on there, and having that LiDAR bump popping up just enough that keeps them from getting under a lot of furniture to accidentally clean. The Saros 20 is the thinnest vacuum Roborock has ever made, at just 3.14 inches tall, and the reason that it can be that thin is there's no LiDAR tower sticking up on the top. The whole navigation system is actually built into the body using 3D sensors that still do all the object recognition that you want, while staying kind of low enough to fit where other robots have a hard time. We watch this appear under our studio couch. That's been a dead zone for most other robot vacuums we've tested, so no problem there. 4th test, this one's probably gonna hit close to home for a lot of you, and that's cables. This is the one that I actually was legit nervous about. I didn't wanna have it get tangled and have to break this thing. We have a studio, so there are charging cables, audio cables, extension cords running along the walls, across the floor, behind desks. I've had some robots avoid cables entirely and leave huge dirty patches around them, while others drive straight into it, and the cables wind them up so badly the robot just shuts down. The Saros 20 has this side-mounted sensor. It detects cables and edges as it cleans, and in practice, what that looks like is the robot kind of tracing along the cable, getting close enough to actually clean next to it, but never grabbing it. We've yet to have a cable incident that sort of leaves this thing tangled. And again, our studio's changing too. Gear moves, setup shifts, cables get rerouted, so it's got to basically relearn the room every night, and it has, and it keeps up. All right, so test 5 is hair. Every robot that I've ever owned ends up in the same place. 2 weeks in, the brush, it looks gross. I'm kind of standing over it with scissors trying to kind of trim those. You've seen the brushes, you know what I'm talking about. It gets gross in there. Saros 20 has a split brush where hair gets pushed into the center and then sucked straight through instead of wrapping around. The side brush has a curved shape that flings stuff towards the main path instead of tangling up. After a few weeks of daily runs, you can pull the brushes out to check. While it's not spotless, it is pretty clean. If you've got dogs or you have people in your house with long hair, you know how surprising that is. 6th test was just like raw suction smarts. This is the general stuff you'd expect from a robot vacuum. 36,000 Pascal units of suction power. Tested this thing out with dust, coffee grounds, cereal, anything I could find around the studio. And with one pass, it had the floors clean. One of the reasons it does so well, it's got what Roborock's calling detect system. Robot figures out what kind of meth it's looking for and decides the best way to clean it. Dry debris, it boosts the suction. Something wet, which is to mop, it only presses down harder. It just sort of makes the call on its own, which is what you want from something that's running when nobody's around to babysit it. Mopping is also pretty good here too. It is not going to replace a dedicated mop, but for keeping up between cleanings, it does do the job. The mop extends out for the edges too and corners, so you don't end up with that dirty strip along the baseboards. The dock here is the unsung hero. It's the Robin to the Saros 20's Batman. The big upgrade is that it washes the mop with boiling water. It's 212 degrees, and there's a soak mode that's actually quiet. And if you ever owned a robot vacuum with a dock that cleans itself at 2 a.m., it sounds like like a washing machine that's broken. It's bad. And you understand why being quiet matters. It also cleans its own internals, and beyond that, handles dust, emptying, dries the mops in a dust bag with heated air so nothing gets musty or gross, refills water, dispenses detergent, all that stuff. It basically takes care of itself. Only downside, it's not small, so kind of plan where it goes because it does need its own space in the little corner. And then finally, I don't have a lot to say about the app, but I guess it's on purpose. Roborock has always had one of the more robust apps that allows for a ton of control and customization, sort of where it mops and how it cleans. It also has Matter support, so work with whatever smartphone system you're using. So if you're in the iPhone ecosystem, it'll work with that as well, with the Home app. So after 6 stress tests, I kind of ran out of ways to stress test this thing. I trust it enough now to just let it run around every night without worrying it's gonna, get stuck halfway through and cleaning or drag cables around the floor. I don't think about it, which is the best compliment I could give a robot vacuum. You buy these things so you don't have to think about your floors and free up time to do whatever you want. And the Saros 20 accomplishes all of those things. But by the way, there's also a Saros 20X version available at Target and Best Buy with some extra accessories bundled in if you want to shop and store. I think they include one mop cloth pair and cleaning solution. But if you want the robot vacuum that survived our studio or any demanding environment, Roborock's flagship is going to be what you want. The links are down below.